Hi, you're very welcome. Just logging in a couple minutes early for our Jin Shin Jitsu meditation. We'll start in about 5 minutes. So you can just relax and drop your shoulders. And I'll just play with my wind chimes a little bit. And I see that Freddie from the Mind Body Experience has seen and logged us all in, and we're all set to go. It's been such a beautiful day. I hope that people got some time out in the sunshine today, and now they're ready for some nice rejuvenation, relaxation, and reconnecting with nature. So we'll make a start. When is the last time that you had a proper break? A break to just breathe and relax. I don't know about you, but I've had a bit more tension lately in my body and in my shoulders. And it's just so nice to set aside some time to cast off the tension and to reconnect with all the wonderful supports that we have available to us all the time in the world. Today, we'll share 36 breaths. We'll hold our fingers and we can be renewed. I have a special focus tonight on this meditation of the Earth's elements, because each of them brings something very special to our being. And we can harmonize one part of our being with those elements and energies, and they're all connected. So if we're working with the fire element, it supports all the other elements, and we can feel better just by holding one of our fingers and breathing and relaxing. Here's an image that I created just for you. And it's about how each part of our hand has a specific way to help us. And each of the fingers has a certain element. It's amazing. And one of the really interesting parts to me is that they all have their own qualities. And they all show up in different ways with our emotions. Because sometimes, if our energies get a little bit congested, a little bit stuck, we can have the negative emotions. And if they persist, then they turn into attitudes and ways that we're showing up in the world. And when that happens, we don't feel as well. And it can even result in dis-ease in the body, where we have projects and discomforts, and we just aren't ourselves. But the most important thing to remember is that your body knows how to be well. Your body has an innate wisdom, and sometimes it just needs a little help to get back to the way it used to be before we got tense, before we got tired, before we were frustrated. And for some of us, before we got a few aches and pains in our bodies. I don't know if you've had that, but I do sometimes. So we'll start today with the earth element. And the earth element helps us to be grounded, helps us to be connected and calm. It helps us to have healthy boundaries, both physically with our skin surface and in our relationships. It helps us to digest the world in what we eat, the things we read, and what we see in our lives. It's harmonized by holding the thumb. As we're holding our fingers, you can hold either your left or right first, whichever's most comfortable, and just hold it gently. We don't have to press. We don't have to massage. It doesn't work better if we clench our hands tightly onto whatever we're holding, because energies will flow more freely and will feel better. So I'd like you to imagine for a moment you're standing out on an open field and you found a patch of soil that's exposed. You're in your bare feet and you can just dig your toes down into that nice, cool soil and to feel the earth's energies coming up through your body and renewing you. And as we do that and we dig our toes in, it's just amazing the connections that we can have. There's a whole movement about earthing and grounding and how beneficial it is for us. So we'll start our 36 breaths now. And we'll do 3 breaths on the first hand. Switch to the 3 breaths on the second hand. And then we'll go on to the next element. So starting with our thumb, just hold it gently. And I'll count the breaths so that all you have to do is relax, drop your shoulders, and breathe. So this is 1, 2, 3. And then gently transfer to your other thumb. And it's 4, 5, and 6. So that connects us with the earth's energies. And if we're feeling worried, that's a sign to us that our energies in our thumb are disharmonized. And by holding our thumb, we can relax and our worries can be released and transformed into wonder. Such an amazing transformation. Our next element is water. And the water element cleanses our beings. We take showers every day and we have such a blessing with the water that flows freely from the tap for us. And it's one of those things where when we're trying to do things in our life, and if these energies are congested, we can be mired in fear and stuck in that emotion. So I invite you to imagine you're standing on the beach, just on the edge of the water, and the waves are lapping at your feet, gently washing away all your worries, all the sand, all the tension, and just taking it away back to source. The water helps to clean our body on the outside. It also helps us to clean out all the toxins in our body. Another amazing part of it is that it helps with our hearing and our muscles. So it's so important to hold our index finger. We can do that now. Start with whichever hand you like. And we're on breath number 7 and 8 and 9. Change hands. Breath 10, 11, and 12. So when we hold our index finger, it helps to harmonize our fear and to transform that into courage. Some people also say that it helps to transfer fear into flow so that we can move freely through our lives and do the things that we need to do and just to feel better. So we'll move on to our next element, one of my favorites, the wood element. I never knew about it, but forest bathing is a thing, and there's so many benefits to it. When you go out into the forest, the air is cleaner. You can breathe more clearly. You can think more clearly. And I always hear the bird song. And then as I close my eyes to listen, I notice that the sunlight is streaming through the leaves and the trees, and just warming my face and helping me to feel better. The wood energy in our lives, it brings us expansiveness and growth and creativity. It's just such an amazing element. It kind of gets a bad rap though, because when it's not in harmony, we get frustrated and we get angry and we want to push against whatever is holding us in place. So when we can transform our anger and our frustration, we can expand and explore our life and to be open to love and new experiences. So holding our middle finger helps to harmonize the wood energy. And it brings flexibility in our physical bodies, in our emotions, and even in our mental processes. It helps with our vision, so we can see clearly with our eyes and we can see with our hearts too. Another amazing part of it is that it helps with our blood circulation throughout our whole body. So it feeds our body and we can be renewed. So we'll start holding our fingers left or right. And when we're holding our middle finger, we'll do 3 on the left and 3 on the right. And I'm trying to remember which we're on. Let's see, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. So breath 13. And 14. 15. Change hands to the other middle finger, and it's 16. 17 and 18. It's one of the things I like best about meditation. We don't have to do it perfectly. We can show up and be ourselves and do the best we can. So that helps us to harmonize our wood energies and to transform anger into love. Next, we move on to the air element. And this is associated with the ring finger. The air element, it's pretty self-explanatory. It helps us to breathe freely and to receive abundance from the universe. It helps us to release the old and to receive the new. It helps us to see the beauty in ourselves and in others. It helps us to think clearly. And it helps us to transform sadness into joy. I remember a day recently when I was standing out in a meadow and I could feel the wind blowing gently, and it brushed against my face, and it just seemed to take away all of my challenges. And then I looked up in the sky and I saw the clouds moving, and nearby the trees were rustling with the wind going back and forth. And it just seemed to create a clearer space. So it was just what I needed at the moment. When we're harmonizing the air element, we're using our ring finger. Again, either hand is fine. So we'll start with our 19th breath. So it's 19, 20, 21. Change hands. 22, 23, and 24. And this helps us to release our sadness, to release any grief that we have in our lives. And I know a lot of people have had challenges this year, and just to release it and to experience more joy. That's the blessing from our air element. Next is our fire element. And sometimes people can get a little bit nervous about the fire element, but it brings passion to our beings. It helps us to connect with our intuition and a broader perspective. It helps us to figure out what's right for us, the gift of discernment. It helps us to have a healthy heart, physically and emotionally. Holding our little finger helps us to transform effort or trying to into ease or effortless reality. One of my favorite things is when I'm going away in nature and there's a campfire and you can just draw up close to it and bask in the warmth, and you can hear the crackle of the wood as the fire continues. And it's just such a peaceful, soothing thing. Fire is always a transformative element. And it's true in nature and true in our beings. We hold our little finger to harmonize the fire element. And we're on breath number 24, 25, 26. And change hands. 27, 28, 29, and 30. I think I chipped us on one of our fingers. Sorry about that, but we can carry on. So those are the 5 elements that are associated with traditional Chinese medicine. In Jinshin Jitsu, the Japanese modality, we have an added bonus of the primordial fire. And the primordial fire is a bit different from the other fire element. It's a bit more refined. It's a bit more connected to the cosmic energy. And it's our blueprint for life. And it helps to support every part of our being, all the other elements and energies. And it's just such an important thing. Now, by holding our center palm, we can harmonize this energy. Have you ever been out in the night and the sky is dark and you can look up and see all the stars? They're so amazing. And it just reminds me that we're so tiny in the big scheme of things. And we have such a vast array of energies to support us. I always like to think about how Einstein said that matter is never created or destroyed, it's just transformed. And part of that transformation for us is that if we go way, way, way back, we're all composed of a tiny bit of stardust. We all have that star element within us and the primordial fire within us. And we can all shine so brightly in our lives. So by holding our middle palm, this helps to harmonize that energy. And we're on 31, 32, and 33. And for our last 3 breaths, change to the other palm, 34, 35, and 36. So this has been a trip through our whole hand and through all the elements. We can harmonize our entire being through our hands. Those of you who've been with a reflexologist know that we can harmonize our entire being through our feet and our hands. And it's amazing because each finger harmonizes 14,400 energies. When you're holding your fingers, you don't have to do the whole sequence. You can do whichever one you're drawn to. And as we share a little bit more of Jin Shin Jyutsu, I invite you to hold whichever hand, part, or finger that you are most drawn to. And just make a mental note of where you're called to hold your hands. When I'm doing my meditations in the morning of the 36 breaths, I have to be honest, I lose track a lot. And I might go, now where was I? Normally holding my fingers helps me to stay a bit more connected with where I am. But if it's one of those things where if we are having a situation where we're not connected, it's okay. Just start where you were. The body knows, and the body will protect you and to harmonize for you. Just to bring in a little bit of the background stuff about Jin Shin Jyutsu. This is an art that came from Japan, and Jiro Murai explored and experimented and did case studies. He was really curious, how does the body work? How do these energetic pathways support us? How can we feel better? And how can we heal ourselves? Now, he didn't operate in a vacuum. He had students, he did case studies, and one of his key students was Mary Burmeister. And she was the one who brought Jin Shin Jyutsu to the Western world. So we know about our meridians and our energetic pathways, and we can move forward in our lives. And then to bring it out of the 20th century into the 21st century, we can explore Jin Shin Jyutsu right here in Ireland or wherever you're logging in from. We can experience Jin Shin Jyutsu like this, where we are learning to help ourselves by holding our fingers and holding different places on our bodies. We actually have 52 safety energy locks on our body, 26 on the right and 26 on the left. And each of them has a special job, a special function, and a special meaning. And it's kind of like if we have tension in our shoulders, for example, it's a signal to us. Our body's saying that we're not feeling great right now. Is there something we can do to feel better? And by holding these places, it helps to harmonize the energy. Sometimes we need a little bit of extra help, so we can go and learn more extended ways to help ourselves. Because, I don't know, I've gotten run down sometimes, and I have the best of intention to feel better, but my body just isn't catching up. So we can learn self-help in a class or an individualized instruction, read books, watch videos. We can also access Jinshin Jitsu through receiving sessions from trained practitioners. And that's such a lovely experience. When you come for a session, you slip off your shoes, lay down on the padded massage table. If you like, there's a fluffy blanket to cover yourself up with and feel all cozy. And you just lie back and close your eyes and relax. And the practitioner is with you, holding space and gently moving the energy through the flow pathways. This is done by just gently placing the hands on the body through the different energy sequences that are most beneficial to you at the given time. And the last session that I did for somebody, she had had a lot of tension in her back. And when we finished the session, I rang the bell and just to gently wake her because she'd fallen asleep. And I gave her a glass of water and she sat up and she kind of adjusted herself, said, I didn't know I was that tense. I feel so much better. And it was just wonderful because it meant that she could go back out in the world and do the things that she needed to do, to be there for the people that she wanted to be there for, and to feel better. And that's the whole thing about Jinshin Jitsu. It gives the space and the support and the help for our bodies to be able to show up and do what they do best. They know how to be well. Sometimes they just need a little bit of help. So I've loved sharing this time with you today. And I have a couple takeaways because I've talked for a while. We've held our breath. We haven't held our breath. We've breathed and held our fingers. We've dropped our shoulders. We've relaxed our mind. And Jinshin Jitsu is something we can do anywhere. We can do it at home. We can do it out in public. It's amazing. So I have a free gift prepared for you today because the recordings will be available on the YouTube channel. And also, if you'd rather have something printed out, I'd be happy to gift that to you and send it out to you. Just let me know. And then the third key point for today is that if you want to experience more Jinshin Jitsu with me, whether it's through self-care sessions or classes or through personalized sessions, I'd be most happy to share that time with you and my expertise. And if you have any questions, if you'd like to put them in the chat and Facebook, I'll come back to that later. I'm going to stop the live stream in a moment. And if you're in the Zoom meeting with me, I'll stay around for a few minutes to answer the questions. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I encourage you to continue to breathe, drop your shoulders, and relax. So thank you so much. Bye, Facebook crew.